Hello friends, welcome back. In the last video, we discussed about various types of constitutional bodies. So, in this video, we will start with the first constitutional body, that is the Election Commission. Now friends, as you know, the Election Commission is described in the Constitution as per the Article 324. So, Article 324 of the Indian Constitution talks about the Election Commission. Now, this Election Commission, it is called as permanent and independent body. It is a permanent body, so it cannot be discontinued, right? That is why it is called a permanent body. And it is an independent body. Now, why it is an independent body? Because it functions independently. Its function cannot be interfered by any other person or any other post. Not even the president or the prime minister, they can interfere in the working of Election Commission. That is why it is called as an independent body. Now, it is also described as an all India body. Now, why the Election Commission is called as the all India body? The reason for this is that the Election Commission takes care of the election procedure, the election process, not only at the center level, but also at the state level. That means, whenever election is conducted in India, whether it is the election of the parliament, that is MP election, or whether it is the election at the state level, that is the legislature assembly, that is the election for MLA, that is member of legislative assembly or legislative council, all these are done by only Election Commission. However, it is very important to note that the election of the panchayats and the municipalities, these are not conducted by the Election Commission of India, but it is conducted by the State Election Commission. So it's very important. A question can be asked, what is the function of State Election Commission? So the answer is, the State Election Commission, it conducts election only for the panchayats and the municipalities. Now, composition of Election Commission. Friends, Election Commission is composed of Chief Election Commissioner. So he is the topmost at position in the Election Commission. But if President decides, he can also appoint some other election commissioners. So apart from Chief Election Commissioner, there can be few others election commissioners. Then, in case there is a Chief Election Commissioner and some other election commissioner, then the chairman of the election commissioner will always be the Chief Election Commissioner. Then President can also appoint some regional election commissioner based on the advice of Chief Election Commissioners. So after consultation with Chief Election Commissioner, President can appoint regional election commissioners. Now, from 1950, that is the year of formation of Election Commission till 1989, it was just a single member body. That means there was only the post of Chief Election Commissioner. There was no other election commissioner or any other member. But in the October 1989, President appointed two more election commissioners. So it became a 3-member body. This was because the workload had increased, because this was the time when the minimum age for election was reduced from 21 to 18 years. So the number of voters had increased, so the administrative work had increased a lot. As a result, it was decided to add 2 more members as election commissioner, so it became a 3-member body. But in 1990, again the 2 members were the post of the 2 members was removed, and again it became a single member body as before. But again in 1993, the 2 posts were restored and it again became back a 3-member body. So from 1993 till date, that is 2021, the Election Commission consists of a 3-member body, that is Chief Election Commissioner and 2 other election commissioners. Now let us compare the Chief Election Commissioner with the other election commissioners. So first is the power. So both the post holds equal power. So although Chief Election Commissioner is the chairman of Election Commission, still they are equal with Election Commissioner that is other election commissioner, in terms of powers. So how decision is taken? What if the chief election commissioner is of different opinion than the other election commissioner? Who takes the decision? Well, in this case, the decision is taken by majority votes. So the one who receives the majority vote, that is among the 3 members, the one who receives the maximum vote, that is 2 votes, is decided as the winner. Then what about the salary? The salary of chief election commissioner as well as the other election commissioner, they are equal, and it is decided to be equal to that of judge of a Supreme Court. Now if you remember, the salary of the judge of Supreme Court, it is 2.5 lakh rupees per month. So that is the salary which the chief election commissioner and the other election commissioners, they receive. What about the term of service? The term of service for the chief election commissioner and other election commissioner, it is 6 years, or till they reach the age of 65 years, whichever is lower. So if a person has stayed only for the 4 years or 3 years, but he has achieved the age of 65 years, then he cannot continue, because the age of 65 years in this case is lower than the term of 6 years. So next is independence of election commission. Now our constitution has said that election commission is an independent body. So what provisions are made to keep its independency? This we will see in this section. So mainly there are 3 provisions which ensures independence of election commission. These are security of tenure, service condition, and the removal of election commissioner. So security of tenure, that means the election commission once appointed, it has a secure tenure of 6 years, or the members can stay till the age of 65 years, whichever is lower. Now this security of tenure is maintained, that means the tenure is fixed, it cannot be changed by anybody. Thus election commission, they don't have any fear of their tenure being controlled by some other person. So there is security of tenure. Now service condition. Now service condition is designed that it cannot be varied to his disadvantage. That means whatever terms and conditions are there at the time of joining, the same terms and condition will be continued throughout his tenure. It can be varied, but there cannot be disadvantage because of this variation. So this is the second factor. And third one is removal of election commissioner. Now whenever there is a case of removal of election commissioner or the regional commissioner, this can happen only on the recommendation of chief election commissioner. So president, by his own discretion, he cannot remove any election commissioner or regional commissioner unless it is recommended by the chief election commissioners. So these are the 3 factors which ensures the independence of election commission. But there are certain flaws which the constitution has in this regard. So what are the flaws of election commissioner as per the provisions of Indian constitution? So first flaw is that there is no qualification prescribed by the constitution for election commissioners or the member of election commission. So this is the major flaw. Second, there is no specified term of the member. The term of the member is not specified in the constitution. So this is another flaw. And third one, the constitution not debarred the retrieving election commissioner from further appointment by the government. That means after the retirement of the election commissioner or after the completion of the term of the election commission, he can be appointed by the government, because there is no provision in the constitution which says that they are debarred from further appointment by the government after retiring from election commission. So these are the 3 flaws with respect to election commissioner provisions as per the Indian constitution. Now let's see what are the powers and functions of the election commission. Now the powers and function of the election commissioner, they can be categorized into three major class, that is the administrative power, the advisory power, and the quasi judicial power. So let us see what are some of the administrative powers. It has, so election commission, it has the power to determine the territorial areas of the constitution of the constitutional area. So what is the area, what is the boundary of the particular constituency? It is determined by the election commission. Then it has the power of preparing and revising the electoral rolls before each election. So every election, in every election there will be certain addition. Once the person becomes above the age of 18 years, he will be enrolled for the election process, and there will be some removal or some deletion because of the migration of the people from one constituency to other, or maybe because of the death of the person. So the electoral rolls, they will be revised periodically before each election, and this is done by the election commission. Then it decides the date and schedules of election. Then it also scrutinizes the nomination paper. So before election, every political parties, they will send their nomination of the candidate, and these nominations will be scrutinized whether the nomination paper contains all the details mentioned, and then only it can be accepted by the election commission. Then it gives recognition of political parties. Now political parties, they can be of either national political party or state political party. Now what is national political party, what is state political party, we will describe in details once we are discussing about political parties. For now it is just, we have to remember that there are two kinds of political parties, state political parties and the national political parties. So who gives the recognition to these political parties? It is the election commission. Then they allot election symbol. Every political party will have their own symbol. So this symbol is allotted by the election commission. So every political party, they will send their symbol for approval, for recognition to the election commission, and once the symbol is approved, it is allotted to the particular political party. For example, BJP, they will have the symbol of lotus, Congress will have the symbol of hand, Aam Aadmi Party or AAP will have the broomstick. So these are the different symbols which are allotted by the election commissions for different parties. Then election commission also prepares the roster for publicity. So before election, all the political parties, they will try for publicity either on radio or television and so on, social medias and etc. So the roster for these publications, they are prepared by the election commission. So what are the things which can be publicized, what are the policies which can be publicized, is decided by the election commission. Then election commission, they can also cancel the polls if there is any hindrance to the free and fair election by anybody, by any public or any political parties, then they can cancel the poll at that particular polling booth. If any untoward incidents takes place of hijacking the booth, or for example bogus voting, all these are the different problems, in which case the election commission, they can cancel the polls. Then the election commission, they also supervise the machinery of election. So whatever machinery required for the election, like EVM machine, or if it is a ballot, previously it used to be a paper and ballot, so the papers and the ballots, these were the machineries which has to be supervised by the election commission. He has to ensure that no manipulation is done to this election machinery by anybody. And then registration of political parties, which we have already discussed, which can be either a national party or state party. So these were certain administrative functions. Now let us see what are some advisory functions. So in advisory function, we have election commission who can advise president for disqualification of member of parliament. So if any member of parliament once elected is found to be disqualified because of any reason, then he can recommend the president to disqualify that particular MP from the parliament. Then similarly at the state level, he can advise the governor for disqualification of MLA. Then he can request president or governor for staff which are required for the conduct of election, for the election procedure, election process. Any staff required, it can be requested. The requisition can be made to the president if it is at the national level, or to the governor at the state level for the election process. And finally, the election commission, they can advise president on election during emergency. Suppose if any state or any union territory is in the emergency, is in the president's rule. So in such cases, after the 1 year of president rule, election commission has to give advice to the president whether it is safe to conduct the election, or if it is not safe, then the emergency can be extended until the situation becomes favorable for election. So these are the advisory function of election commission. And the third function is of quasi judicial, that is election commission, they will perform certain judicial functions, like whenever there is a dispute between recognition of a political party or its symbol, it is election commission who takes the decision. He can take decision by appointing officer who will inquire into this dispute, and based on this recommendation, election commission will give its decision that the particular political party or this election symbol belongs to who. So a few years back there was a such dispute in Samajwadi Party between Akhilesh Yadav and his uncle and father, who were fighting for same election symbol and election and the political party. So it was election commission who had to give decision that particular symbol, it belonged to whom. So that was the powers and functions of the election commissions. So next is vision, mission and principles of election commission. So the vision of election commission is very clear. It wants to establish election commission as an institution of excellence in electoral democracy. Now this is done by active engagement, participation and deepening and strengthening the electoral democracy. Then the mission of election commission is to deliver free, fair and transparent election so as to strengthen the trust in electoral democracy and governance. Now this is done by maintaining independence, integrity and autonomy of election commission. Also it ensures accessibility, inclusiveness and ethical participation of stakeholders. So all the stakeholders who are active members of election, it is ensured by election commission that all of them participate ethically so as to adopt the highest standard of professionalism in delivering free, fair and transparent election. Next is guiding principles. So the election commission, it has set up its own guidelines and principles for good governance. These are mentioned below. So the first one is upholding values enshrined in the Constitution. Our Constitution has enshrined various values with the active participation of our founding fathers. So these values are like equality, equity, impartiality, independence, rule of law, direction and control over the electoral governance. Then to conduct election with credibility, freeness, fairness, transparency, integrity, accountability, autonomy and professionalism. Thirdly, it should look forward to make election as a voter-centric and with voter-friendly environment. So it will ensure the participation of all eligible citizens. Then to engage with political parties and all stakeholders in the interest of the electoral process. Then to promote awareness about electoral process and electoral governance. This can be done in all stakeholders like voters, political parties, election functionaries, candidates and people at large. Then to develop human resources which are required for effective and professional delivery of electoral service. Then to build quality infrastructure for the smooth conducting of electoral process. Then adopt technology for improvement of all areas of electoral process, and strive for adoption of innovative practices. And lastly, contribute towards the reinforcement of democratic values by maintaining the confidence and trust of the people in the electoral system. So these are certain guiding principles which are created by our election commission. So that was all about election commission. In the next video we will talk about Union Public Service Commission. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you.